What is good, everyone? I don't know why I'm all the way on this huge full screen right here, but my name is Mark. This is Weekday Wager. So happy you found us, because if you're not watching us live, unfortunately, you are already behind. And speaking of behind, let's take a look and see what happened yesterday with DG and I. And we're not going to dwell on this too long, because thankfully, while there is a lot of red on this screen, there is some breaking news, and I got to bring Robbie in on this one. Robbie, there's some breaking news happening that is basically it's breaking the internet. The fact that we can still get on and that we're still streaming is a in and of itself a small miracle for me. But anyway, how are you doing on this Tuesday?
I'm great. Slow news day on this Tuesday, but I'm great.
Slow news day.
Yeah.
In
my world.
Have you've been you're not aware?
I'm aware.
Okay. All right. Because today, being Tuesday, is our last segment for the fantasy football kind of review. We're tackling some wide receivers with Mikey P, and I think that this is a great time because I got some questions for Mike about the news. If you haven't already heard, Kelsey, Swifties, it's a union. They announced the engagement. Your English teacher and your gym teacher are getting married. Mikey P, first of all, how are you doing today on this Tuesday? And I can't wait to hear your take on this.
Thanks, guys. I'm doing great. Happy to be back with you guys. Sorry I missed the quarterbacks last week, but this is the best news. I mean, listen, as someone who lives in Missouri now, I can feel it. I can hear the Swifties screaming outside. And like I said before we went on air, and I truly do believe this, the Chiefs are now officially America's team.
But why? Is it just because of the Taylor Swift phenomenon? And I'm not trying to discount that, because I mean that's huge. But how does this make the Chiefs America's team?
She's going to bring in a whole different crowd. We've already seen it over the last couple of seasons. She's bringing in a whole different crowd of women, a whole different crowd of younger female fans into the football world. Obviously, she goes on the New Heights podcast this offseason. So they're really putting it all out there. At first, they were kind of trying to play it off like, yeah, things are great, but I'm focused on football. She's focused on music. They're doing this together. And honestly, as much as we see these in sports these days, if this is his last year, what a way to go out. So if it's the last year the Chiefs are America's team, there should be a very fun season for the Chiefs.
Interesting. Robbie, I got to hear your take on this, because America's team has been the Dallas Cowboys. And do you think that the Cowboys should lose that designation, if you will, the term of endearment, because of just Taylor Swift's impact?
Has been is a good statement, because that's what Dallas has been. We haven't been anything since 1996. And as a Cowboys fan, I can say that. As far as Taylor Swift being the reason why anybody is America's team, I don't think so.
The Swift Army is a real thing, though. So, as I think I speak for all of us here at the Weekday Wagers, we could be more supportive of the Swift Army. We have always long been steadfast supporters for the Swiftie Army and all that they do in their endeavors. So we will continue with our.
I'm very excited for when she debuts the Divorce album, and I'm hoping that Kelsey returns back after that, because I'm going to bet every touchdown prop I can for him. Also, I can't wait for their big fight after they get married. That's when you bet Kelsey's touchdown props, because he's going to be a pissed off individual. Not right now. Wait till they have their first fight, and it'll get leaked, because everything gets leaked. So wait for that day before you start betting his props.
So, you know what? Thank you for being, because as Joe just said, bet if it was
Rob
Zombie, Robbie would be in.
100%.
The Swifties are 20-40 now. So yeah, that's the big news. Listen, congratulations, Travis, Taylor. Can't wait to see the betting angles as soon as the we get a little further into the marriage and the relationship. But we're going to transfer from America's team to what is fast becoming America's favorite thing to do, and that is fantasy football. We're breaking down wide receivers. Mikey P, you got to come back on there, buddy. I got to have you here.
You got to have me here.
These are the top 5 wide receivers according to you. We got Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, Puka Nacua, which always reminds me of the Lion King, by the way, and Brian Thomas Jr. Jamar Chase at number 1, not that surprising. Why are you so high on a guy like Brian Thomas Jr. at number 5?
Because you had to ask me about him. That's what I love about a guy like a Brian Thomas Jr. Listen, Travis Hunter comes into Jacksonville. People honestly forget that if it wasn't for Brock Bowers, Brian Thomas Jr. would have been the most electrifying non-quarterback rookie last season, and he set the world ablaze in fantasy football. Most of you, if you drafted him, probably won your league. So when you bring in a dynamic playmaker like Travis Hunter, and you have a guy in Brian Thomas who can take the top off your defense with his speed, he can only get better, at least in my opinion. I don't know how Brian Thomas Jr. can't get better. I think they were trying to surround him with veteran pieces. You're seeing a lot of youth come into Jacksonville. I think Brian Thomas easily jumps into the top 5 this year.
Rob, looking at this top 5 list for you, who stands out? And I know that you're a Dallas Cowboy guy, so CeeDee Lamb, especially there with the pretty cool visor. I love that look, by the way. Who jumps out to you off of this list?
Yeah, I think Brian Thomas deserves to be in this list. He's on mine. I got to pick early in drafts, so to grab him at like 6th or 7th, if Malik Neighbors isn't there, I'd take Brian Thomas. If I can get both of them, I like that play. Maybe Puka Nacua, and there's only a couple reasons why I don't have him as high. Matt Stafford's health is one. I've seen Stetson Bennett play preseason, but not a regular season game. And you got Devontae Adams there now trying to fight for target share. I've got Neighbors higher because he played with, the Three Stooges last year at quarterback and still had a great season. So I've got Neighbors higher, but I like Brian Thomas. I even have Nico Collins. Only reason why is because Nick Caley coming over from the Rams should really help out Houston's offense. I've had Nico, I think, every year he's been in the league. So that's the only one I would say is maybe Puka Nacua. Justin Jefferson has a hamstring injury too. I can't pick anybody with hamstring injuries. Those things linger way too long for me.
So that is a great kind of lead into my next question, because I was going to ask Mike about that as well. You got a guy with an injury and still makes the top 5 here. As someone who is new to fantasy football, kind of break that down for me. Why would you still want to draft a guy who has a potential injury that could hamper him in scoring and not take somebody else that doesn't have an injury?
See, when it comes to wide receivers, for me, it's just how good you are from an individual standpoint. When we talk about running backs, we got to worry about the offensive line or the fit of the offense. Same thing with the quarterbacks. Who's their offensive coordinator? Justin Jefferson, Puka Nacua, those are 2 guys who are going to be good no matter who's throwing them the ball. Robbie, to your point, if Matthew Stafford's injury lingers, I do like Jimmy Garoppolo, who has experience in high-level games, to come in, be their top guy, get Puka the ball, and I know Devontae Adams is there, but when you have a pure route runner like Devontae is, he's taking defenders with him. So you pick your poison, really. If Puka has a down year, that means Devontae's having a better year, at least from a Rams standard. And then Justin Jefferson. Mark, all due respect, you could be quarterback, and Justin Jefferson would be a top 5 wide receiver. I could be quarterback. DG could get off the Church League couch and be the quarterback and still be a top 5 wide receiver. The injuries are definitely a question mark. Hamstring injuries do linger, but with J.J. McCarthy, I expect Minnesota to be down a lot this season, and when you're down a lot, you throw the ball a lot. So there's no better wide receiver to just throw the ball to and let him go get it like Justin Jefferson.
I like it. We do have a question from Abbas. Is if you had to choose, and sorry, Mikey, you got covered up with this, but would you go with McCaffrey or Gentry in the first round? And he's referring to a PPR fantasy league.
I'm going to go McCaffrey. I know there's going to be questions because of the injury concerns that he's had, but there's no doubt when he's healthy, he's top 2 and it's not 2, right? That's how good Christian McCaffrey is. Don't be that guy or gal who overhypes Ashton Genty and takes him at 9. Even if you see a running back run early in your draft, let the chips fall where they may. Take McCaffrey. Don't think about it twice.
Robbie, your opinion?
So I'm going the opposite. And it's only because I've had bad experiences with McCaffrey, honestly. I think I'm the reason why he gets injured the years he gets injured because I take him. I'm going Genty too just because of Pete Carroll's style. He loves to run the ball, except when it's 4th and goal with the 1 on the Super Bowl and you don't give it to Marshawn Lynch. He does like to run the ball. That's the reason why I'm going with Genty. I think the Raiders will, like you said, Mikey, they'll be down a lot as well. And I think there's a guy that reminds me of David Johnson with the Cardinals. I liked him a lot back when he was actually good, and that was one of the reasons why I took him. I see a lot of that with Genty.
I like it. Well, let's go to our favorite little part of this segment, the play or fade. And we are looking at Drake London as a play, and we're fading Tyreek. We're fading the cheetah? Explain.
We definitely are fading the cheetah. Robbie, you talked about the first fight between Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift 5 minutes ago. Tua and Tyreek are still having their first fight, and I don't see it getting any better between those two. Tyreek Hill is a blazer, but I can't say this enough. All jokes aside, you guys know I love the crack jokes and everything. All jokes aside, Tua's health is of the utmost importance, not to the Miami Dolphins, but to himself. Every single time he hits the field, I cringe. And it should be that same way in Miami. I think they've done a disservice to Mike McDaniel and the entire offense, but by not bringing in a valuable backup behind him. It's real, guys. It's something they don't want to talk about in 2025. One hit to Tua, and he's probably not playing football again. Tyreek Hill's value goes way out the window with that. Now, I'm not trying to predict someone's downfall on an injury. So when I look at Drake London, the Atlanta Falcons are getting younger. They're getting better. The move to Michael Penix was a good one. And guys, I will say this 100 times every single football season. Drake London is my prototype wide receiver. 6'3", 6'4". Throw him the ball, watch him go get it. And I think Michael Penix can sling the ball with the best of them. He is going to be a guy you can get in the mid to late rounds. Drake London at high best is a wide receiver 2 for you.
Now, Rob, let me ask you this, because I agree with the Tua take because I think so much of Tyreek Hill, but we also have Devon Achane.
Yeah.
Achane. Who is also one of those guys where, yeah, people like to grab him early, but it's so dependent on Tua. What's your take on it?
I can't disagree. I'm sorry. I can't agree more with Mikey P. I'm sorry. It all banks on Tua's health. And like Mikey P said, every time he's on the field, I'm just like, slide. Right. But he never does. He goes head first and bad things happen. And we saw what Tyreek Hill was without him last year. I completely agree. Michael Penix and London have had an offseason together too. They connected on a touchdown pass in the final game of the season last year. I think that's a great player fade. I would take Drake London all day, every day over Tyreek Hill right now.
Perfect. Let's go to our next one. Ladd McConkey and DK Metcalf. Listen, I couldn't agree with you more. Anytime you have the chance to take a McConkey or the Chargers just in general, it's obviously a smart pick. But I'm kind of interested as to your take on this.
I think when we look back at last year's rookie class in the NFL, 5 years from now, we're going to say it's one of the best to come into the NFL in recent history. Ladd McConkey, we already mentioned Brian Thomas Jr., right? The Chargers are continuing to try and build offensive weapons. And Ladd McConkey is a guy where you're like, man, that guy just went for 8 catches, 94 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He's not going to do it again next week, right? You're like, I'm not going to go after him on the trade market. It's just a 1-week wonder. Boom, he does it again and again and again. Now, I know a lot of people who watch Weekday Wagers or Coaching Company are going to say, I'm fading DK Metcalf because he has Aaron Rodgers throwing to him. And that might be true. However, what also is true is they got rid of George Pickens. They have nobody else around DK Metcalf. Mike Tomlin's offense is never a high-powered offense. It hasn't been in years. So DK Metcalf, I guess go run around and see if you can get open, and Aaron will try to get you the ball. Ladd McConkey will find the ball with Justin Herbert and Jim Harbaugh's offense. I don't say the same about DK Metcalf because he's going to be the focus point for defenders going up against the Steelers.
Yeah, and I really like McConkey. Look, I'm going to take my homer right out of this one, but the reality is that the Chargers were a very one-dimensional team last year without a running game. They've brought in some running backs. We've talked about Omarion here earlier on the segment for running backs, but Najee Harris is the other one. With a running game, it's going to open up the passing game, and I think that only benefits a guy like McConkey. Rob, looking at DK Metcalf, I mean, should Rodgers, again, it's kind of like the Tua thing, should Rodgers not be able to perform and they go to their backup, does that actually change a perspective on a guy like DK Metcalf is saying, okay, maybe he can actually have a better year now because of a different quarterback?
Not really. And it's like Mikey was saying, I don't trust that Steelers offense. They also have Arthur Smith, who had Bijan Robinson as his running back, but kept giving it to Tyler Algier all the time. So he doesn't know what he's doing either. He'll probably play DK at running back before the season's over. I think Ladd McConkey, you nailed it. He was a guy last year I thought, well, yeah, he had a good game. He came from Georgia. Of course he's going to be good because anybody can play wide receiver at Georgia, right? But it's like you said, every week it was just he kept going off and he kept going off. He doesn't have Mike Williams there anymore since he retired, and they don't have Josh Palmer anymore either. So he's going to be the focal point in LA along with the running backs that you mentioned.
Look, and that is going to wrap up our kind of fantasy football segment. But I do have a quick question because I see a couple of, Scott says, I needed this before my draft. Yeah, I know. And so I'm sitting here thinking, Mike, and we already had our weekday wagers draft. And I know that there's a lot of people in the chat right now who are a little worried. Yeah, Joe, I'm talking to you about week one. Simply because of the lineup that I have. It's a dominating lineup this year. But are these guys, if you have the ability to swap out or trade or pull somebody off who may have fallen through the cracks, and just by the grace of God, you find this nugget, is that something that you would suggest at this point, or do you kind of wait to see how the season gets off to a good start?
So thank you for asking. I would like to publicly announce that my name is Mike Pendleton and I have an addiction to trading and fantasy football. I waste little to no time. I try to identify situations early and often. There's so many examples. As a Bears homer, I'm selling off every share of DJ Moore I have this season. Not because I think DJ Moore is going to be bad, but you have to kind of throw it out there. When you're talking about fantasy football, I legitimately look at it as car salesmanship, right? Like, what's wrong with this car? There's nothing wrong with this car. I simply do not believe I want this car, and I believe you want it more than I do, right? Or if someone goes, well, I'm going to go get DJ Moore, you want to start identifying some younger talent around. No one's going to flip you a Ladd McConkey for a DJ Moore. I'm trying to think of a few trades I've already made. I've been active. I always joke around with my better half. I'm like, hey, phone's going off. I got trades coming in. I'm wheeling and dealing. You want to look at what teams are stacked, but then what teams people don't believe in. I'll just throw one out there. The Houston Texans. A lot of people are looking at Nico Collins. That's where they stop, right? They'll say Nick Chubb, Joe Mixon, and Nico Collins. Joe Mixon is going to miss the first 4 games for the Texans, by the way, at least. You'll look at their roster and you'll see Christian Kirk. No. Look at Jaden Higgins, their rookie out of Iowa State. This is a kid who can go up and get it, and he's a guy where maybe you can draft him late. Maybe he's on the waiver wire. But that's a guy who, if you're in a deeper league and you're like, I maybe want to sell off some well-known names for some young, unknown talent, he's a guy that I target. I get the ball going right away because maybe you have a kid and your kid was crying in the middle of your draft, or your significant other was yelling at you during the draft, or you're looking at your phone and you missed the pick. You want to see who's unhappy with what they have and just let the conversation happen. I hate people who are over aggressive when it comes to trading, right? People who are like, I hate Lad McConkey. I need him off my team. You're like, all right, well then I'll give you like a bag of Doritos for him. So you just kind of got to let it happen, let it come and play out. But I'm active in trading. I like to trade more than I like to hit the waiver wire.
Gotcha. Interesting. And what gave that one away, Joe? Was it the glazed over look? It kind of like I felt like I was in algebra class all over again. And Mike, Kimberly says hello. So
Hello, Kimberly.
There's that. As far so you seek out trades. You don't kind of just wait to pick people off the waiver wire. You go out and are actively looking for trades.
Yeah, because waiver wire every week, week in, week out, it's 3, it's 4. Yeah, right? If you're in a 10, 12 team league, you better hope you're bad, right? That's who the waiver wires, give the gifts to, is the bad team. So if you're a good team, how do you become a great team, right? You look at maybe this team in 5th place is underperforming and maybe they have running back injuries. Okay, maybe you have 4 running backs. You need a better tight end, right? You always want to go with, especially based on your league settings, what gets rewarded the most. And I think I missed last week, so I didn't get to go on my quarterback rant. But I've never been one to say, I'll get my quarterback in the 5th or 6th round. If I go into a league and the scoring settings are quarterbacks are equal, or if not more, to a running back and wide receiver, I'm taking Patrick Mahomes all day. I'm taking Joe Burrow all day. I may not take them first round, but 2nd, 3rd, I'm not wasting any time. It's quality over quantity. You can get good, serviceable running backs late in the mid rounds of the draft. You're not going to want to roll out Daniel Jones or Geno Smith as your starting quarterback in fantasy football. I can promise you that.
So what you're saying is I need to go and actively seek out that trade and get Brandon Aubrey back on my team this year.
Mark, I almost just want to see your team when the show is off the air. So either I can laugh at you, help you, or all of the above. I'm not sure. And thanks for the invite. I thought I'd get on the Weekday Wagers Fantasy League, but I get it. I'm just here to provide insight. I get it.
Can't have, yes, it would be the unfair advantage.
Mike, let me ask you this too, because Joe talks about how his team received an A grade by the ESPN geniuses. I never like getting an A grade or even a B grade from that, because that means I probably did something wrong. Most of my teams have always been good if I get like a C or a D. What is your take on that? Do you care about their grading system, or do you just trust your gut over what they say?
A wise man from Coaching Company once said, model my ass. And that's how I feel about ESPN's fantasy rankings, because they're just thrown into a system. And what you don't get from these report cards, right, is what is your preference? What are your team needs? If you're looking at based on what, just they're going off of ADP, average draft position, right? And that to me is so comical, especially in leagues like that I'm in, because I do a lot of keeper leagues. So you're going to have 3 or 4 players roll over, and then they'll look at your team and go, well, you just drafted 5 wide receivers. Yeah, because I had 3 running backs coming in. What are we talking about here? The running joke on social media is if ESPN grades you a D or an F, you did a great job. If they gave you an A or a B, seek help.
Just so you know, the person who uttered said quote has yet to win against the model. So there is that.
I'm not saying your model. I'm saying the ESPN fantasy football model, because again, it's all based off ADP. And when you don't look at team needs or team wants or maybe how you operate, listen, I was ridiculed last season for taking Rome Odunze in the 6th round. But what did I know? I knew I was in a league with nothing but Bears fans. So I'm going to go ahead and reach. And Mark, if I may, I want to throw this out there too, because we're coming off a season which so many rookies shined. And this year you're like, okay, Ashton Genty, and then who? Tatori McMillan out of Carolina is another one. I like to be the guy that makes everyone mad in my draft. So if you haven't drafted yet, what I mean by that is if you're going to get all your running backs taken, Fourth round comes around, if all your quarterbacks are still available, take Patrick Mahomes. Watch Jalen Hurts come off the board. Watch Joe Burrow come off the board. Watch all these owners get nervous that they're going to miss out on a top quarterback. And then what happens? More running backs fall. More wide receivers fall. You take a rookie. Everyone's going to start running on the rookies. Be the person to start the run and let everyone else fall to you. It's my favorite strategy.
Yeah, I tried that last year with kickers. It didn't work, Mikey. Hey, listen, thank you so much. You have been a wealth of information, and I think that we should probably have you back on in a couple of weeks as the season starts to progress and things start to go. And maybe you could offer some advice to, especially for people who are in leagues looking to improve their position or, just overall do better. Again, thank you so much. This has been great. We're already up to 25 minutes and we've got to get to our wagers. So Mike, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day and we'll talk to you soon, bud.
Thank you, guys.
You got it.
Appreciate it.
All righty, Robbie, let's not waste any more time, man. I just looked at the clock and was like, whoa, what do you got?
Hey, man. Time flies when you're having fun, right?
I know. What do you got?
So tonight, let's change that red to some green tonight, okay? I'm going to go Christian Yelich, 2+ hits, runs, and RBIs. This is -130 on its own. I actually used my 33% boost at DraftKings and got this at +102. He's probably my favorite play of the night. He's cashed this in 4 straight games overall and in 7 straight games at home. He's 1-for-1 against Brandon Fat Daddy, like I like to call him. And in the words of DG, Brandon Fat sucks. Fat averages a 6.36 ERA and a 2.6 hit home runs in his last 9 on the road. Yelich should bat fourth tonight, which is a weak spot for Fat. I'm actually liking a lot of the Brewers tonight. So if you go to justastatsports.com, use BTT30 as a promo code, you'll see I got another guy on there as well. I think the Brew Crew win tonight. I think they win big. And give me Christian Yelich to cash this 2+ hits, runs, and RBIs at -130.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the Brewers win this one big as well. I think that they're starting to pick up that steam again. They stumbled a little bit. They're starting to get that rhythm again. And I am, like you're targeting the Brewers, I am targeting a team that has been absolutely on a tear and they don't want to lose that first place position. And I'm going with the Toronto Blue Jays on the run line, -1.5 runs at +133. Look, Chris Bassett has got 144 innings. He's got a 4.18 ERA, a whip of 134, and he is facing Bailey, Mr. Ober, with a 5.05 ERA, a 132 whip. He struggled to keep runners off base. He just gives up a ton of runs, and against the Toronto offense at home, who, by the way, have the best record at home. And did I mention the Twins? They're tanked. They're done. Their season's over. The fact that they are, it's funny because when you start looking at teams, especially with a handful, we've got 30 games left in the regular season, you start looking at these teams that don't have anything left to play for. Their seasons are done. They know they're not going to the postseason. They're not going to make the wild card. I love to target run line teams because the books will still have really soft lines for those run lines. +133 for the best home team in the country. The Blue Jays just hung up 10 runs on Joe Ryan, the Twins ace, last night. They're going to crush Ober. So I love this spot. And I know Taj, I believe that was one that Taj had put out there. So Taj and I, he got it at 126 at MGM. I think I got it on DraftKings or FanDuel at 133. So shop that around, but I still love the 126 price. Any thoughts on the Blue Jays?
Yeah, it was actually hard between player props, especially like home run props, because I think there's so many guys that have a chance to go off tonight, and I hate having all those chances. I like singling out a certain guy, so you won't see any home run props from me on that game, but I agree with both you and Taj on the Blue Jays handling their business tonight.
Yeah, I like that. Listen, let's start to wrap this one up. Let's get to our daily dinger. We got Shohei at 170, Judge at 190, Mr. Riley Green at 320, Addison Barger 370, and Bobby Witt Jr. at 420. Rob, who do you like?
Look, it would be Judge, but it's below 200, so I can't pick him as my favorite. He will be in some parlays I have tonight. I'm going to go Riley Green. And this was tough because I like him and Kerry Carpenter tonight. But Riley has 3 home runs in his last 7 games. He's 1 for 3 with a home run against Oswaldo Beto. Hope I got your name right. Beto has allowed 8 home runs to left-handed batters in 28 innings. So he has 4 home runs on Dinger Tuesday. So Riley Green, Kerry Carpenter's a look too. I don't think you can go wrong with either one of them tonight. I sprinkled on both, but give me Riley Green at plus 320.
Yeah, I like that one. I like both those. And I looked at Carpenter too, and I was like, ugh. All right. And I know you have certain limits on the Daily Dinger where you won't go below like 200 or whatever.
Just for show purposes, I still bet him.
Give me Aaron Judge. Now, Aaron Judge at home this year has only had a stretch of 6 games without hitting a home run. It's only happened twice this season. We are at 6 games now. He is due. And with Cal Raleigh getting to 50 last night, I just think that Judge is lined up. I don't even know if he's got a home run history against – who's he facing?
I know he's like 3 for 5, and he has 2 home runs off.
That's right. Yeah, yes.
Can't think who he's going against, but I know he has great numbers. Yeah.
Yeah, he has 3 or 6 plate appearances, 3 hits,
Jake
2
Irvin.
of them.
Is it Jake Irvin? Is that who
No.
they're playing tonight?
No,
that was Washington, right?
Mackenzie Gore.
Oh man, Mackenzie Gore. That's it.
Yeah, and so yeah, he's faced him 6 times, 3 hits, 1 single, 2 home runs. Granted, those home runs came back in 2023, so it's been a minute. But give me Judge here. I think that the Yankees are in a spot where they, again, you start looking at those teams that have to get things going. Houston's a great one. Toronto, the Yankees, Milwaukee, obviously a solid. But that is those. Let me get up here. Where was I going? There. We'll come back up here. I know we got some other ones. Andrew Vaughn, Christian Yelich. Wow.
Hey, if you got a no sweat, why not?
Okay.
I like Yelich. I like him to go yard tonight too. He wasn't my pick for the show, but I have put some coin on Yelich to go yard.
And Kevin is on Dalton Varsho. I love that look, Kevin.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, yesterday when DG and I were on, Kevin had put up Jazz. And Rob, the minute DG put this up on the screen, I could see the look on his face, and it was the same feeling I have. It's like I can't support Chaz after that showing in the home run derby. My mind goes back there like that. I'm sitting here watching the game last night, and he smacked the hell out of the ball, just crushed it. And I'm like, yeah, I still don't care. I still can't get behind it. I still can't do it. So
even his 2 home run game on Sunday didn't sway you either.
No, I couldn't do it.
Couldn't
do it. So Kevin's on Dalton Varsho. Let's see, Scott.
Hey, I think did Tosh have Caminero yesterday? I feel like I saw that somebody had Caminero yesterday, and he went absolutely nuclear. He had 2 last night as well.
Yeah, yep. Bobby Witt and Big Dumper. What's not to like about either one of those? I think Bobby Witt is on our daily dinger because there's a high probability for him to hit a home run, to greater than at least a 30% chance. So I like that spot. And you're talking about Cal Raleigh, who every night is a threat. There's our junior. So we got them there.
He's on a tear right now.
I'm trying to think. They keep coming in. McCaffrey or Genty? I need to know. I never answered. I'm going with Genty. And I'll tell you why. I don't trust McCaffrey. I think he gets his stomach issues and the way that the 49ers tried to I don't want to say hide it. Well, that's what they did. They hid it. They buried it. They didn't want to disclose the extent of the injury. And as a result, I don't know if that's the front office position is trying to hide an injury, or if that was McCaffrey trying to hide the injury from the office. Either way, I don't trust him. I think that Genty is going to get so many more looks and so many more opportunities, especially with the Raiders not supposed to have a very good season this year. I expect him to be the workhorse and really get him the reps, which is going to find him in a lot of garbage time, just racking up yards. So I like that look.
Yeah. McCaffrey for me is a lot like our Tyreek Hill segment. If you gave me a guarantee that Tua would be healthy for the full year, maybe I would change my stance on Hill and London, but you don't. And we all know what happens.
Right.
Tua just can't make it onto the field. Same here with McCaffrey. If you could guarantee me a full year of health, yeah, I would take McCaffrey over Genty, but give me the unknown, give me the fresh legs, give me something that I already know what McCaffrey is going to bring, and I'm going to go with Genty as well.
Okay. That's going to do it for us. Wow, we get 36 minutes. Whew. Yeah, whatever. I can't wait. I can't wait for that week when DG and I get to square off in fantasy football. That's going to be a lot of fun. That's going to do it for Tuesday. I know you and I will be back here tomorrow at 2:00. Anything else that you're keeping your eye on tonight?
Yeah, watching Red Sox and Orioles, I was actually happy with how we came out and played last night. I was wanting to do some Red Sox bets, but after we had a letdown Sunday Night Baseball, and I usually don't like targeting teams after Sunday Night Baseball, but we came out, got the win, so we're still rolling. So I'm probably going to be checking out Red Sox and Orioles tonight.
I like it. You know what? I didn't put out a WNBA bet for tonight. And the reason is I got my ass kicked last night in the WNBA. So I do have a couple picks up on the site that will be posted up there here shortly. I know that they will be going up pretty soon. And oh my goodness, Kevin, thank you so much, brother. Hey, thank you. Honestly.
Appreciate that, Wazzy.
Yeah, that is amazing. Thank you, bud.
That's awesome.
And no, Kimberly, that is not a nice jacket on Robbie.
Badass jacket.
Have you, real quick, have you been watching any of the U.S. Open at all? Any of the tennis? Do you follow any of that?
We don't get the tennis channel in Tennessee.
Okay, first of all, it's on ESPN. Don't be a jerk.
No, I don't watch the U.S. Open.
Okay. I'll tell you, it's been great. There have been some upsets already. And I think the U.S. Open, I really enjoy it, not because it's played in New York City, but simply because it's more of it's like the golf tournament that they play in Arizona, the waste management, where as soon as they hit a shot, beers are flying in the stands and also the U.S. Open for tennis, because tennis can be a little proper, as they say. The U.S. Open gets absolutely crazy. And so I've been taking in some of that. And if I'm being completely honest, that may or may not be on right now. And I'll probably be watching that for the rest of the evening. So I can't wait. I'll fill you in tomorrow, Rob, on all the happenings for the U.S. Open.
Let me know. Don't spoil it for me tonight. Let me wait till tomorrow.
Yeah, okay,
I'll have
you got
a chance
it.
to watch it.
You got it. All right. Well, with that being said, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Kevin, appreciate it, buddy. That super sticker. Thank you. You just brought DG a 6-pack of his Memphis Blues, whatever girly thing that he drinks. With that being said, listen, enjoy the rest of your day. Be kind to one another. Let's cash these bets, and we'll see you tomorrow.